to the World Championship, but that is still 2 rounds away. But we're here in top 16, game number 1 of the NAWCQ here in Indianapolis, Indiana.
This being the top 16, also worth pointing out, both of these duelists have earned themselves that ultra rare copy of Effect Veiler.
Definitely, those new prize cards that are added. They've already got their hands, or well, they're going to get their hands on the card trooper as well. We see the handshake, exchanging the pleasantries, and it's going to be time to duel.
And time is up. We're going to move to the next duelist. If I could please have
Draw phase.
Ethan Senecal.
Stand by phase. Main phase 1.
Heard your name called. Please come to the main event stage.
All right. Looks like Ruben is going to be leading off the first turn here by normal summoning Malice Chessy Cat. Malice Chessy Cat can allow him to banish a Malice card from his hand to draw 2 cards from his deck. And we'll see if Craig has a response. It does look like he's holding a copy of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring that could potentially shut off Ruben's turn here if there's no other way to extend onto the field.
May potentially shut him off as well. It took a little while to think about that because that fire attribute can be very valuable when he actually starts to begin his plays with Vanquish Souls that rely on having different attributes in their hand to maximize their effects.
Yep, and it looks like a Link summon is going to come down next for Ruben. He's going to send that Chessy Cat to the graveyard to summon Ling Karibo.
Perhaps now he can combine that with Bestial. You see that his deck type includes the word Bestial. Really what the indicator is for us to incorporate that is the inclusion, really, of a third Bestial.
But you mentioned all the cards that Vanquish Soul can have in their hand, and one of those important cards is straight out of Duelist Advance, and that's going to be Vanquish Soul Holly Sue. Craig just has to reveal any Vanquish Soul monster and then special summons the Holly Sue. Now he can reveal a Fire and a Dark to special summon from the deck, but Ruben has Dominus Impulse to stop Craig in his tracks.
And now he notes that Burger and Raisin are in his hand. That's, another one of the potential downsides here is that by revealing all these attributes, Ruben knows that there is less potential of hand interruptions.
All right, and in this situation, you always need something like a Bestial, but even better, a Malice March Hare is going to banish that Chessy Cat from the graveyard. So he's going to be able to still get to 3 monsters on the field. He's going to pay 300 life points. Chessy Cat's going to special summon back to the field.
And this is something that Craig needed to consider because by activating Chessy Cat, that does indicate that there's at least some Malice card in his hand. Probably not Malice in Underground because he would have potentially activated it. But certainly here, March Hare being one of the most ideal cards to have to follow up that Chessy Cat.
Yep, going to send 2 monsters to the graveyard to summon Splash Mage. Splash Mage is going to bring back that Malice March Hare, and now a Link summon is going to come down for Malice Red Ransom. Red Ransom on summon is going to add a Malice spell card from the deck to the hand. Previously, could only add that Malice in Underground, and that is going to be what Ruben adds. They also have Malice in the Mirror that they got in Alliance Insight. That's a fantastic card.
Yeah, one thing to note, it's clear there that Craig didn't have a Bestial, or else he would have used it on the Splash Mage. We saw that interaction throughout this weekend, that although it might not seem like Bestials line up as ideal cards against the Malice monsters, if the Malice has already been special summoned from the Banish pile, it's actually a pretty ideal target for a Bestial.
Definitely, and he's going to send the Red Ransom in the March Hare to the graveyard to link summon Cyber's Wicked. And next he's going to talk about Malice in the Mirror. He's going to use Malice in the Underground to banish Malice in the Mirror from the deck. And when Malice in the Mirror is banished, you can banish a monster, or you can banish a Malice card from the graveyard, and then add a card of the same type. So if you banish a monster, you'll add a monster to your hand. He's going to banish the Red Ransom with Malice in the Mirror. Now he's going to pay 900 life points to special summon Malice Red Ransom back to the field. And at the same time, thanks to Red Ransom, he'll be able to banish a Cyber's monster from the deck. Now we're finally getting to see Dormouse, who's going to be trying to get into more of those Malice monsters.
Yeah, it's a really ideal sequencing there. It's one of the great uses of Malice in the Mirror, banishing extra decks, specifically Link monsters, of course, from the graveyard as well, allowing you to special summon it back. Anytime that this deck can special summon those Link monsters back from the banished pile, the advantage that you accumulate is really quite considerable.
That's right. He's going to be able to add the backup at Ignister thanks to Cyber's Wicked. Pay 300 life points, special summon back the Dormouse from the banishment. And then March Hare is also going to be able to allow him to pay 300 life points to add the Malice March Hare back to the hand as well.
Now he's finally able to banish from the Dormouse a copy of White Rabbit. He's going to pay the 300. White Rabbit's going to hit the field. And now White Rabbit's going to allow him to set one of the traps from the deck.
Things are looking good here for Ruben so far. That Dominus Impulse was huge on the Vanquish Soul Holly Sue.
See, that Holly Sue would have likely special summoned Raisin, which would have potentially allowed him to get the right attribute so that he could activate the effect of Holly Sue to take control of a monster. However, by shutting that down with Impulse, Craig has been cut out of that really pivotal hand interaction that he would have been otherwise able to use here on Ruben's first turn.
Yeah, it really just speaks to the power of Dominus Impulse, one of the most impactful trap cards you can include in your deck in current Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now.
Yeah.
And now he's going to reveal the backup Adagnister in his hand, special summon backup Adagnister, activate the effect to add an Adagnister monster. Well, it's going to be a dark Cybers monster, but it's usually Wizard Adagnister.
But there are situations where you do actually search Malice monsters, depending on the makeup of your hand and kind of potentially how many interruptions you've had to play through that turn.
Yep, and he has to discard a card after the resolution, and it's going to be discarding that Malice March Hare that was added to the hand earlier in this turn.
He's actually been able to add 2 to his hand this turn. He was able to search one off of Underground and then add one back from the banish pile, so he actually still has an extra one in his hand that he can use as a point of interaction on Craig's following turn.
Yeah, with Malice, once you get going, there's so many different ways to make sure you always have that Malice March Hare in your hand, and Ruben is excellent at piloting this deck, so he knows what to do. 3 monsters on the field now go to the graveyard to link summon Malice Heart's Cryptor.
These 2.
And now he's going to link away the Cybers Wicked and the Heart's Cryptor for a Malice Whitebinder. That's the Cybers Wicked's a link 2, and then using the Red Ransom as 1 equals 3, and now Malice Whitebinder is going to use the effect on summon to banish 3 cards from the graveyard. He's going to get rid of Craig's Ash Blossom and 2 of his Malice cards, a March Hare, and then the Whitebinder, or sorry, the Heart's Cryptor. So the Heart's Cryptor will be able to pay 900, summon back to the field. You may wonder why he banished the Malice March Hare, but it's good to have multiple Malice cards banished because he's going to want to use the Heart's Cryptor effect on his own turn here to deal with that Holly Sue, and then he'll have an additional Malice card he'll be able to return with Heart's Cryptor for the disruption during Craig's turn as well. So every decision just immaculate here from our reigning world champion.
I know, just the navigation of using the Malice in there earlier in the turn to banish a link monster from the graveyard. We see him setting up the double banish effect with, well, the banish return to deck effect with Heart's Cryptor. Plus, he's also set up having that additional March Hare in his hand. He's layering those interactions. And that was a point that we made earlier this weekend, that the more interactions that you can establish and the more that you can establish across a wide point in your opponent's turn, the more difficult it is for your opponent to deal with your opening play.
That's right. He got that GWC 06 with the White Rabbit earlier in the turn. He's going to use it to banish the White Binder to summon back Chessie Cat from the graveyard. Since he has a Link 3, he's going to be able to gain some life points back that he's been spending with all these Malice effects. And then Malice White Binder's effect is going to trigger, since it was banished, to pay 900 to summon itself back and get Ruben a fresh card off the top of the deck added to the hand there.
I think that may have been another copy of Dominus Impulse. We talked about this earlier in the weekend. You filter out the cards in your deck that are those engine cards, those pivotal cards for your main strategy, and increase the likelihood of drawing into these interactions as your deck gets slimmer, and it seems like that's potentially one of the things that we just saw have happen there.
I see a ghost. That's a ghost rare Firewall Dragon as he sends the White Binder plus the Chessie Cat to the graveyard for the awesome-looking ghost rare Firewall Dragon.
Kind of a ghost. I mean, there are many times in Yu-Gi-Oh's history where that card was hitting the field just about every game. Then it kind of fell out of favor for a little while, but it is back. It almost seems back in full power, honestly, in a strategy that utilizes Cybers monsters like this.
Fell out of favor is definitely one way to put it. But now we're going to see a Link summon come down here for Allied Code Talker, Adagnister. On summon, it's going to be able to special summon back the White Binder. White Binder hasn't used the effect to set a trap card just yet. So now Ruben's going to be able to reset that Malice GWC 06. Sets another card face down. Could be the MTP 07 or the Dominus Impulse that you said you might have saw him draw. Now Craig is going to draw. He's already down a card because of the two cards, thanks to Holly Sue and Ash Blossom already from the hand. So he's going to have to deal with this incredible board that Ruben put up here on this first turn.
Small thing, he even set his trap card in a really perfect slot. You know, just kind of manipulating exactly where things are on the field.
Craig starts with one of the best Vanquish Soul monsters he can hope for, and that's Vanquish Soul Rosin.
Thinking.
Ruben's going to take a moment to consider his options. Vanquish Soul, even though they have to rely on a normal summon outside of Stake Your Soul, being able to return the Vanquish Soul monster to your hand to summon a bigger one is definitely something that Ruben has to consider. But MTP 07 deals with that perfectly because it's going to banish a monster at resolution, so it's not something you have to target. So even if Craig returns the Rosin to his hand, summons out something like a Heavy Borger, it's going to get banished. So Craig has no response here.
This demonstrates the power of those non-targeting effects.
Definitely. Now, MTP 07 also adds a Malice monster, so he's going to add another copy of Malice Dormouse from the deck to the hand. And that Rosin is going to join Holly Sue and Ash Blossom in the banishment. And Craig has seen enough. He knows that this world champion knows his deck's wrong. Oh, he did. Oh, never mind. Maybe he didn't concede.
No, he's going to resolve the Razin.
Oh, okay. I thought he conceded. It looked like he was saying like you got it, but no, he's going to continue to play. We'll wait a few more minutes for that.
Yeah.
He has the allied code talker that's able to negate something. He has the firewall dragon as a disruption still as well.
He also has the potential to navigate his way into a Heart Scriptor for more non-targeting destruction. And we know he has that copy of March Hare in hand. So Craig has a copy of Droll and Lockbird in his hand. That's not really going to do much now. Here's that copy of Ollie Sue. He's going to reveal a Heavy Borger, and now he's going to chain the effect of Allied Code.
That's mana.
Talker out Ignister?
Yep.
Gonna negate that. All right, Craig's gonna continue to play. He does have the extension here in the Vanquish Soul strategy with Stake Your Soul, revealing a dark monster. So he's gonna be able to special summon a dark Vanquish Soul monster from the deck if Ruben doesn't have a response.
No response.
And he has no response.
So Dr. Madlove is going to come down here from the deck to the field. Activate the effect to add a Vanquish Soul spell or trap.
May I read?
Yeah, right. So Ruben just clarifying some of the text. I have to imagine he's played against Vanquish Souls before, but it is still very important, especially in these high-stakes duels, just to verify that you understand all aspects of the effect.
Burger, one
Yeah,
unknown
it's
and
funny,
one
like I'm
correct.
pretty sure Dr. Madlove like, returns a monster with the lowest defense, but since all Ruben has are link monsters,
response.
it's always going to be one of his own cards.
Plus, it's also useful to kind of verify and understand how the chain effects work with some of the Vanquish Souls, you know, in the case of not being able to activate multiple at the same time.
On resolution, I'll activate Droll and Lockbird. I cannot. I activate Dominus Impulse.
Oh, look at that. Great job by Ruben realizing that he activated Dominus Impulse earlier this game, which means the Droll and Lockbird in his hand cannot be used.
On activation.
I think it also means a Firewall Dragon
HEW.
can't be used as well. I believe that's the light monster.
It does still provide you link arrows, but you might
So
be
now
correct there.
I'm going to gain
Yep.
23.
Now he's going to activate the GWC06 to bring back
79,
that Malice
correct?
Whitebinder that he sends to the graveyard with the Allied Code Talker, add Ignister.
Effect. Binder. Targeting MTP.
The Malice Whitebinder is going to banish MTP07
Scriptor.
and the Heart Scriptor because he needs to get that Heart Scriptor back on the field to have another form of disruption here.
Specifically the non-targeting, as you mentioned earlier, which really mattered what we saw
It's
with MTP.
excellent against the Vanquish Soul strategy that
Target's
has
one,
ways
two.
to dodge their effects when they're being targeted by tagging out into a different Vanquish Soul monster, essentially.
Really a good thing that Ruben picked up on that he had activated Dominus Impulse earlier, because if he was planning on using that Firewall Dragon like you mentioned, he probably just realized that that's also locked out as well.
Okay, it looks like in response to the Heart Script, the Whitebinder targeting to banish from the graveyard, Craig is going to activate Heavy Borger from the hand to try and return Dr. Madlove to special summon Heavy Borger. He might be just trying to get the Borger on the field, so he'll be able to use the quick effect to draw a card potentially to try and find an answer from his deck.
Yeah, that's what my opponent.
Yeah.
No response.
And so the Madlove's going to return to the hand.
I'll take the warning. Thank you. Yes. I had a MC minor for a sleeve.
Been a clean game so far. So Whitebinder's going to manage MTV07 and the Heart Scriptor.
7,000.
And now Ruben can pay 900 to special summon back Heart Scriptor from the banishment yet again.
What chain? Effect you draw.
I have no
Or
response.
maybe not.
You're at 7, right?
Correct.
Or did he? Oh, he just chained the Heavy Borger effect to the Heart Scriptor effect to be able to special summon itself. Okay.
Yeah, so now when Heart Scriptor hits the field, he'll at least have already resolved the Vanquish Soul that he would have wanted to activate.
Anything else?
No triggers.
Now, I think if you're Ruben, do you just go ahead and use the Heart Scriptor effect right now? I think you do. He banished the MTP07 because he wants to either put back the trap into his deck to be able to be reset with White Rabbit in the following turn, or he has the option to put back the Malice in the Mirror to be able to reuse that as well. But it doesn't look like he's going to do it just quite yet. He's going to wait, and now Craig is going to go into Typhon, and Heart Scriptor's way too big to be able to activate its effect while Typhon's on the field. Maybe he should just let it rip.
Yeah, but this, obviously this stymies a little bit of what Ruben's trying to do, but
Yeah.
it also is basically the
It's
indicator
special
that the
summon
turn is
once,
basically
2800
over
attack.
for Craig.
No more summoning for sure. Oh, it does look like that Ruben did attempt to activate Firewall's Dragon at some point, but as we mentioned previously in the game, Dominus Impulse prevents him from using light effects. So just a PE minor there. It's something that's really easy to overlook, especially when you're using Impulse on your very first turn,
Absolutely.
which doesn't happen often because your
Taking
opponent has to have a
damage.
card on the field, but Holly Sue
Puts me at
was on the
69.
field. So Typhon is going to return the Heart's Cryptor and attack over the allied Code
I will
Talker
attempt to pass.
Agnister.
In your hand, I know Mad Love into a nose, correct?
Yeah, so as good as that Typhon may have been there, I just think
It's a losing battle.
Yeah, it's just Ruben has so many resources now, especially if he's going to be able to,
Free Marcher.
start off here with March Air.
March Hare is going to probably banish something like White Rabbit or Chessie Cat.
Use the
Yep,
effect
it's going to be the
Chessie.
Chessie Cat. So now the
It's
Chessie Cat's
600.
banished. As the Malice monsters work, you're able to pay 300 to special summon it back from the banishment. And down to the field.
I'll drop.
Yep, and now
Still
it's
not.
Ruben's turn.
I mean, phase 1.
5 monsters on the field, just facing down to
Like the Chessie
Typhon. Typhon's going to stop monsters with 3,000 or more attack from activating their effects, but he's going to start with the Chessie Cat, banishing March Hare to draw 2 cards. March Hare, let him pay 300 to add back a Malice monster from the banishment. Going to add back the March Hare.
One of the things this weekend I think we've seen from the Vanquish Soul decks is it's really great to pass back to the opponent with at least one on the field. I just feel like you feel a little bit safe, and obviously you have the Holly Sue, you have ways of putting them on the field on your opponent's turn, but I really think it's great to have one on there because your opponent really has to instantly start dealing with and playing around the possibility of that returning to hand.
Now that Typhon put the Heart Scriptor back into the extra deck, now he's going to use 3 monsters to summon it again, but it only has 2,500 attack now. It wasn't summoned back and having that double attack, so Ruben's going to be able to use the Heart Scriptor effect to take care of Typhon and move to the battle phase and end the duel here quickly. He might need a little more damage on the field, so he will be normal summoning Dormouse and using the effect.
Yeah, and the fact that Dormouse just nets out another monster, I think will probably be enough.
And increases all of your
Yeah,
monsters.
that's also true.
It is definitely going to be over 8,000 unless Craig has something like a Bestial that he might be able to summon during the battle phase, catch Ruben off guard, but he's also going to be able to set the MTP07, so not even that will be enough. He's going to reset the GWC06 with the White Binder,
Attack for 31.
move to battle, attack,
I can't.
attack.
Okay, attack again.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Craig understands that.
Craig just wanted to watch it happen.
Yeah, which is fair. I mean, you are playing for a seat at the World Championship.
True.
Okay.
They're just like making sure they're good to concede. But yeah, Ruben takes game 1 with relative ease. I mean, he drew pretty well there. Let's not play around with it. He drew having that Dominus Impulse in the opening hand and being able to use it before your opponent's, like on your first turn. We've been
Is
talking
that a
all weekend how
warning or is
Vanquish
that
Soul gets
just,
to play on your
both of
opponent's
us?
turn and how good Holly Sue is. But Ruben's showing you there are answers to stuff like that. Dominus Impulse is one of those cards.
And he just navigated some of those early plays so incredibly well, demonstrating how you can utilize Malice in the Mirror as a banish off of Underground and some of the nature by which you can then navigate through there and get cards out of your graveyard banished, like Link monsters especially.
Yeah, you get like the double action from
Yeah.
Malice in the Mirror. You're getting the search from Malice in the Mirror. You're getting to summon back whatever you're banishing with Malice in the Mirror. So it's just so much, so fast. And this is one of the reasons why Malice is the deck to beat. But, as it is one of the top decks, it has a target on its back. Artifact Lancia is probably included in almost every single person's side deck. As good as it is, at least a little bit of a downside for Vanquish Soul. Light isn't really an attribute they really want to include in their deck, but there's no way you pass on a chance to use Artifact Lancia.
Yeah, at least with some of the Molcharmies, you are literally replacing if you're able to resolve. So by the time it gets back to you, you might have 6 cards in your hand again if it only 1 for 1. Or you might have 7 or 8 cards, and by that point, you probably have all the attributes you need. And you have to play a card like Lancia. It really is a big sacrifice where the lining up there of the attributes is just not ideal for what the Vanquish Soul strategy is trying to do.
Yeah, but it definitely should not stop you from including Artifact Lancia if you are at home playing Vanquish Soul, because you're going to need a card like that against decks as powerful as Malice. But, Craig, looking focused, losing game 1 is tough, but I guarantee you this isn't the first game 1 he's lost throughout the entire tournament. He's probably found a way to win the next 2. Because the game drastically changed once you dive into the side deck. I mean, we've already talked about Artifact Lancia so much, but it definitely evens it out a little bit. But because of Alliance Insight and the backup Adagnister, Wizard Adagnister, and the cards that they got from there, even when they're hit with Artifact Lancia, Malice can still find a way to get to those Link 3 Malice monsters that the deck needs to provide some form of disruption during the opponent. And you touched on using that Artifact Lancia, you're down to 4 cards in your hand. That Lancia is not replacing itself, and Vanquish Soul is a strategy that really needs to amass a decent amount of cards in hand to really get rolling.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Let's say, for instance, you go,
Let me know when you're done.
Drone Lockbird and DD Crow on your opponent's opening turn. Well, that's pretty good sometimes. Make your opponent pass back, but now you have 4 cards, and you are relying on having a starter, and you're relying on having the correct attributes, and all of a sudden you realize, right, I stymied my opponent, but I'm not really able to do anything because I need these attributes that are now suddenly, in the case of maybe DD Crow, discarded to the graveyard because you just fundamentally needed to DD Crow. So it is just one of the points about this deck that you do need to be wary of, that when you are utilizing Vanquish Souls, consider every hand interaction very, very carefully, because you don't want to find yourself not planning for your own turn and realizing that, maybe I could have survived that activation and the resolution of an effect on my opponent's turn, but by my use of that hand interaction, it's now stymied my own plays.
Yeah, definitely could be the case, but Craig with a smile there, a little more relaxed. It's funny to me to watch Ruben play and how serious and focused he is, because he's just he has his eyes on the prize. But anytime you see Ruben outside of playing, maybe in a feature match with the opportunity to potentially win the NAWCQ or YCS, he is always all smiles. Very nice guy.
I know, you can see he's declaring everything. He is speaking to the judges. And another thing to note, I just want to comment on the previous, he had that just very small infraction in the previous game. And, he thanked the judges. They're doing their job. The judges' work is very difficult. And that communication back and forth and the respect back and forth between the players and the judges, it's a really vital part of our tournament structure and system.
Definitely is. It looks like the judges are waiting to do something. But I'm just so eager to get into the next game. I want to see these two excellent duelists face off against each other. Now we're going to get to see a chance for Craig to go first with his Vanquish Soul strategy. Yeah. Is it going to work out for him? Will he open up with some Vanquish Soul monsters? We're going to find out right now here in game number 2 of Top 16. I just can't believe we only have a few more rounds, 2 more rounds before we find out who's going to Worlds, but only 3 more before we're going to really find out who's going to become our NAWCQ champion. After this one, of course.
Of course.
All right, let's see what Vanquish Soul cards are in Craig's hand. How is he going to begin his turn?
I think I see at least a Mad Love there, which would mean he has a starter. And if that's the only Vanquish Soul, it wouldn't have been a starter 2 or 3 months ago.
Yep, thanks to Duelist Advance. Vanquish Soul start. He does have Holly Sue as well, so this is going to work out really well. He's going to reveal the Mad Love to special summon Holly Sue, and follow that up with the effect of Holly Sue, revealing a Dark and a Fire to special summon from the deck. Does Ruben have any response? Doesn't look like it.
This looks like it's going to be a very ideal opening play for Craig.
Yep, Vanquish Soul Rosin is going to be special summoned from the deck, and on summon let Craig add a Vanquish Soul monster from the deck to the hand.
You want to see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So looks like Ruben's just going to verify the text. Jiaolong. There are some interesting things you can do with Jiaolong.
Thank you.
You can reveal it and also special summon it. It can be revealed for the effect of a Vanquish Soul and special summon in the same chain.
Yeah.
Love 2 unknowns.
Pretty cool. He's going to add Heavy Borger here, it seems, with the Rosin.
Thinking.
It's interesting. I think there might be a copy of Nibiru in his hand. It's another one of those hand interactions that attribute-wise did not line up
But
with the inherent strategy.
Yeah, but could be impactful enough to make a dent in the Malice strategy, so maybe that is why Craig decided to include it here.
But here's Mad Love. He's probably going to be searching out. I think it's really the only option that he has. No, actually, he is playing Dust Devil as well, so he is going to still go with Vanquish Soul start.
Kingus isn't here anymore.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if I could do it quite as well as he can.
No, we can just say Vanquish Soul start now. We don't have him encouraging us to enunciate our explanation points.
Just for target Madlove.
So now it looks like he's going to use Vanquish Soul start targeting Dr. Madlove, and he's going to be able to add a Vanquish Soul monster of a different attribute. So a non-dark Vanquish Soul monster from the deck to the hand. It's going to be that Caesar Valius.
So this is going to be great for Craig. What he's really going to be establishing here is that non-targeting effect with Caesar, so a destruction effect. potentially the Mad Love bounce back. He's going to have the Holly Sue interaction, and during the end phase, he's going to be able to set the trap, which is going to be a board wipe that allows him to also special summon from the hand and protect his Vanquish Souls. So it's going to be layered. That's just the key of this weekend. What decks can layer their interactions the best. He's also going to be drawing multiple cards throughout the duration of this, burning for some damage. I haven't checked yet. I don't know if Craig is on the package, the Nash Knight package. It actually looks like he is. We haven't seen that in the feature match area yet this weekend, but we may potentially see that here.
Yep, Rosin is going to go to the graveyard to link summon Rock of the Vanquisher. Rock of the Vanquisher's effect is going to activate to add back a Vanquish Soul monster from the graveyard.
I thought you just said effect results.
You're good, you're good.
So Rosin goes from the graveyard back to the hand.
Proceed to end.
No response.
Did Craig say he's trying to end? Maybe? Oh no, yeah, end phase. So at the end phase, Vanquish Soul start will allow him to set that trap, as you were mentioning, Joe. Vanquish Soul Snow Devil.
Just want to double check.
So he is kind of going for a more lower to the ground board, but this might not look like a whole lot, but it really, quite frankly, is, because he can summon the Raisin from his hand using Rock in the column that he needs. Note that he left the zone underneath the extra monster zone that's unoccupied open, because if Ruben were to play a Link monster in that zone, he could play the Raisin into that zone and then utilize its effect. He also has the Caesar effect for destruction that's currently in his hand, but could very easily get onto the field.
Raisin,
He also has the Holly Suit, and here he's using
And then I have to discard to 6.
the draw during the end phase as well, just to kind of filter through and look at all of his options, even though he still has to discard during the end phase.
He drew an Artifact Lancia, I'm pretty sure, off that heavy border. So this could spell disaster for Ruben, but excellent for Craig. This is where he wants to be. A decent turn 1 board here that has a lot of interaction, going uninterrupted from Ruben, and has the Artifact Lancia to try and ruin the game here for Ruben.
He still has another draw if we reach the main phase with Heavy Borger. Something to note for the players at home. Notice the sequencing during the end phase. It's a pretty simple one, but you can activate the Heavy Borger during the end phase, but he wanted to resolve his start first by setting that trap card to ensure that he didn't draw it.
Smart stuff here. You don't want it to. It seems like every time you don't do that, you always end up drawing the card that you wouldn't have set. Like, the odds are you're not going to draw it, but it almost happens every single time. But Ruben has seen enough, and Craig is going to even out the series here and push it to a game number 3 up against the reigning Yu-Gi-Oh! World Champion.
The reigning world champion trying to also become an NAWCQ champion. I'm not sure if this has happened yet. Would that make him almost like a Grand Slam champion? He would be a YCS champion.
Yeah, he would have
a
them all.
world champion.
Yeah,
a WCQ champion. I don't know if he's won
a Team YCS.
A team, but has he won an individual as well? I'm not 100% sure. I know he's won probably 2 Team YCSs. So we need to get.
Yeah, it's been a while. I feel like he has, but I'd have to look it up for sure. But he is just an excellent duelist and has been at the top game and has achieved the ultimate goal of winning the World Championship, which only 2 players have ever done from the United States, him following Paulie Aronson from the previous year, which was incredible to see in Seattle, Washington. He was able to take down the World Championship with Ubel. It was quite an epic World Championship last year, so I know he's looking to run it back and then maybe potentially win 2 World Championships in a row.
Yeah, that would be it's something that's been done before. But it's been a while since it's been done.
Certainly has. But it would be awesome to see, the U.S. be able to win 2 in a row for sure. That's definitely never been done by the U.S. It's been done from other places for sure, but not from a U.S. player. Now, going into the side decks, things are going to be a little bit different here as Ruben's going to go first. But yeah, we saw Artifact Lancia really can make all the difference up against the Malice strategy.
Yeah, it's been like that all weekend, but Ruben's made it all the way to the top 16 here this weekend, and it's not because he's just dodged Lancia every round.
Yeah, every single player he's played against has had it.
Literally.
Whether they drew it or not, that's questionable, but chances are he's definitely had to win games where he has gotten Lancia. And like I said, with Alliance Insight and the back-of-back Ignister cards, there's definitely ways to play through Lancia. It's a little harder when you're going second and your opponent has like their full established board that they were going for, and Lancia's on top of that, which is why we saw that quick concession there in game number 2. It just really depends on the hand that you draw.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of Droll and Lockbird, where sometimes you may have compensated for Droll and Lockbird by having cards in your extra deck that when you're going first and get hit by Droll, you can still actually establish enough interruptions to win.
Yeah.
But it's when you're going second and they have Droll and Lockbird plus, a full field, where you think to yourself, like, I planned for dealing with Droll, but not also dealing with what your field entails.
You have the icing on the cake, if you will. And I'm pretty sure he drew that Lancia off the heavy burger. So maybe like a sigh of relief when he saw that there. I almost feel like I heard like some gasps in the crowd, like, oh, just like a little bit.
Yeah.
But our players do have headsets on, so they were not going to be able to hear anything, any sort of crowd reaction from that as well.
But just imagine that from Craig. He's like, oh, this is going pretty well. This is the exact kind of board that I was hoping to do this weekend. And I get a couple draws from heavy. Ooh, and one of them's Lancia. This is exactly what I want.
And that sealed the deal for game number 2. But we are here in the final game of our top 16 feature match between Ruben Peñaranda and Craig Hayashi.
Draw face.
Draw phase check. Lancia check.
He does
There
have the
it
artifact
is.
Lancia. What
All right,
does,
called by
Stand
check.
back. No.
does he have any response? Cross out Designator, called by the grave, anything to stop it. If not, he's going to have to find a way to play through it.
summon.
Just a set? Oh, it's okay. Maybe he's going to summon a Malice Monster? No, not yet. It's a pass. Artifact Lancia. It could be Craig's card of the weekend if this is what it's going to take to get past the world champion. Pot of Extravagance.
Ooh.
Oh, huge start here for Craig. Artifact Lancia into a Pot of Extravagance.
Anywhere.
Just that 1-2, it basically skips Ruben's first
You can
turn.
just do the top 6.
And now he gets to refuel his hand back up to the full 6 cards
This is
with a
huge.
Pot of Extravagance.
We talked about the downside of Lancia and Vanquish Souls. You're down a card, but Pot of Extravagance is making it up, as you mentioned. Excellent here. We saw Pot of Extravagance in the Vanquish Soul deck that won in top 64 as well, so this might be something to consider if you're at home trying out the new Vanquish Soul cards you got out of Duelist Advance. Pot of Extravagance might be one you want to try out in your list.
Thinking.
Ruben has, though, that critical Ash Blossom. If Ruben is going to survive this turn, I think it really starts with that Ash Blossom and somehow a way to stop Raisin, and he does, in fact, have one.
A mistaken arrest. So until the end of the next turn, neither player will be able to add cards from their deck to their hand. That is huge against Vanquish Soul, but not as incredible against Malice. A lot of times they don't have to add cards to their hand. They're going to be banishing them and then special summoning them.
Yeah, it's a minor inconvenience, but if it's a minor inconvenience that you started, it's something that certainly Ruben's been playing through this entire weekend and certainly will likely have a game plan for on the following turn. But we see here a Heavy Burger already in Craig's hand, which is going to allow him to return that Raisin back.
Yeah, I think mistaken arrest only stops you from adding, right? You're still able to draw cards, which is why you saw Ruben Ash Blossom the Pot of Extravagance instead of chaining the mistaken arrest.
55.
And that means also the Heavy Burger will still be able to net Craig a card. We saw it draw an Artifact Lancia there in game number 1, but
Attempt to draw.
will it do it again
Yeah, just
here?
double
He's
check
going to
that.
reveal a
Yeah.
dark. Oh no, yeah, Extrav stops you from draw. Oh, but it got Ash, so
Yeah.
that part of the effect won't be there. Yep.
Mad Love Raisin, 2 unknowns.
Dope. Okay, it's just another copy of Mad Love, it looks like. Xiaolong is going to be activated here now to special summon from the hand.
So this is only going to be an interruption by changing battle position, which against Link Monster. Oh, this is still in the battle phase. Okay, it seemed like it may have been in the end phase. So
Yeah, he did use the Heavy Burger in the end phase last time, but getting a little more damage here across makes a lot of sense.
that's fair. So I have to imagine now there will be Link plays incorporating some of these monsters. I thought he was just going to have Xiaolong under the mistaken arrest for additional turn, which would mean he'd be unable to activate the effect of adding a Vanquish Soul, but nope, he is going to be able to access his extra deck in main phase 2.
Going to link away the Xiaolong, sending it to the graveyard to perform a link summon for Raka the Vanquisher.
Can I see right? It's just that,
And-
right? Yeah.
Wants to check Ruben's graveyard really quickly.
Pair of non-engine cards. So now he's going to be able to add back
Only 1 unknown in
Xiaolong.
hand.
So now we know, at least if
Raisin,
you're in
Mad
the
Love, Xiaolong, and
Ruben
one
seat,
unknown.
he knows 3 of the cards, Raisin, Xiaolong, and Mad Love. If you're watching, though, from our angle, we know that the unknown card is an additional
to
copy
pass.
of Mad Love. So what that means, though, is that as this
Anything
pass
off it?
back, this draw off Heavy Burger, this additional draw, is going to be a pretty important one.
Reveal
So he's
Mad
going to reveal the
Love.
dark.
Can he draw another Lancia?
This could be his tournament life on the line, and
And it's a Molcharmi.
Stand by face.
no Lancia here. Ruben is going to get to play his turn.
Now, there are some interruptions here. Of course, you still have the Rock that can summon Raisin from hand.
No. Okay, no, he's going to set a trap again, but that doesn't mean his turn's over. He could still summon a Malice Monster, but he doesn't.
No.
Ruben doesn't have the Malice Monster in hand. The Artifact Lancia didn't even stymie him. It looked like it did, but he doesn't have the Malice Monsters he needs here in Game 3.
I have to imagine that must be another copy of Mistaken Arrest then.
It could be, but he already took
Try to
so
make it
much damage on that first turn. There's no
luck
way
in
he's going
top
to
eight.
survive
Good
this
luck in
Vanquish
top
Soul
eight.
deck. And Craig,
yeah.
after losing game one,
You're
is
asking
going to
what I
take down
do?
the reigning
Oh,
and
okay,
current
okay.
Yu-Gi-Oh! World Champion and move on to the top 8. And if Craig makes it to the top 4 and goes to the World Championship, Ruben is going to be looking for him
Yeah.
at the World Championship to get his revenge on him, but that's going to be a couple months away. And Craig still has to win in top 8, but Craig is 1 win away from representing North America in Paris, France this year.
Demonstrating yet again in the feature match area the power of the new Vanquish Soul strategy.
Absolutely incredible. Duelist Advance just having a huge impact on the NAWCQ here this weekend, and we've seen it in a variety of decks. I mean, even Battles of Legend, Monster Mayhem. This is like the first event we've had streamed since that came out. Gym Nights took everyone by surprise, multiple in Top Cut, but Vanquish Soul all over the place in the main event and here in Top Cut, and being able to take down the top deck piloted by the top player in the world currently right now. Just absolutely stunning. I mean, Vanquish Soul is such an incredibly strong strategy. Heavy Borger is always like what sold me on Vanquish Soul from the beginning. I mean, I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh player, so I like to draw cards. So being able to have a Heavy Borger where you're drawing on your turn, drawing on your opponents, getting you closer to accessing cards like Artifact Lancia is just absolutely incredible. And just hats off to Craig, who's just now 1 win away from going to the World Championship. But Ruben's gonna write his name down and know he's not gonna forget this. He's not gonna let this one go.
Now, this is just going to motivate him even more. Not that he needed any more motivation, but he is still planning in just about a month or so to go to Paris, France, and represent North America again to try and go back-to-back at the World Championship. The results of this tournament were going to have no bearing on the fact that he was already invited to that tournament to defend his championship. So I think he's just going to kind of regroup, take a look at what that format's going to be once we know, and prepare like he's prepared for every event in his life.
Yep, but I can't wait to hear from Craig. I know Jackie's standing by with our winner here who just defeated the reigning world champion. So I'm going to let you take it away, Jackie.
Oh my goodness, you defeated the defending world champion going to the top 8. Are you in shock right now?
A little. I mean, obviously he's a good player, but yeah.
Okay, so a little bit in shock, but also confident, right? Tell me, what was your mindset going into this duel?
I think going into this top 16 feature, I think it was definitely, I knew it's gonna be hard, because I know who I'm playing against.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, when you laid out that Artifact Lancia, I gotta know, what were you thinking?
I'm glad I resolved.
Okay, the crowd loved that answer. When Ruben passed, what was your reaction? Did you think you were like, oh, this is happening, this is it?
Yeah, there was a moment where I knew I had game next turn because he passed. And it helped because I also drew a Holly Sue.
Okay, the crowd is just nodding, yes. Okay, and I did want to pick your brain a little bit. Why Vanquish Soul?
I actually think it has a good Mitsu Raizo matchup because we have a lot of protection against the Mitsu portion of the deck.
Okay, great. And what is your strategy moving forward?
Try to play it the best I can.
Okay, I like that. Any shout outs? The crowd is cheering for you.
I guess I'll shout out to my home local Phantomic Gaming.
They're hooting and hollering for you. Someone's got their phone light on. They're going wild. Oh, okay, everybody. Let's hear it for Craig, everyone. I'm going to send it back to our casters.